but you want to be the good church girl because you want everybody to like you.
That is such a burden for the women have, you know?
Yeah.
You were desperate for attention
Yes.
because you felt you weren't pretty.
Right.
So at 14, Charmaine had an affair with her teacher. Teacher was the first person to tell her she was beautiful, a princess, told her she was wonderful. And all of this comes about at a time when she, as you've just heard, she wasn't feeling so good. Then the school found out about the affair, and what happened?
He went to jail, and you know, when it hit the ceiling, all my friends hit the road. He was well liked, and I was the slut of this small town.
So it got so bad that she tried to kill herself. Tell me about that.
I remember, excuse me.
It's okay.
I remember once when my mom was gone and I was home, and the shame that I felt was so great. And I felt like I had been such a disappointment to my parents and to, you know, I felt like I had ruined everybody's life involved. And I remember going to the drawer in the kitchen and pulling out the biggest, sharpest knife I could find and realized, you know, that if I just did it, it'd be done, you know?
Right.
And as I was standing there, and I remember trembling and I remember just crying. And I just didn't care, thank you, anymore. And I remember the thought of my mother, seeing her in my mind weeping over me. I couldn't do that to her again. I felt like I had already brought her enough pain, and I felt like I would just have to deal with my own pain and live with it, you know, to keep her from having to go through yet another painful time.
Charmaine, throughout all this time, was there anyone who was there for you that accepted you who you were unconditionally?
Yeah, there was a friend of mine in school, and we weren't real close at the beginning of our friendship, but as we grew closer, he was always there for me, and he was unconditional. He never tried to use me. I don't even recall him ever trying to kiss me. And yet he always made it known that
he was on your side.
That he was on my side and he liked me and wanted a deeper relationship. And I don't think I ever felt like I
to do with it. There weren't any other minorities. Everyone was either white or black. There was no in between.
And you were white and Indian?
Correct.
Okay. There was one person you thought was your true friend.
Right, Martha.
Tell me about that.
Well, I met her after I had moved to my grandmother's in 7th grade, and we became friends. She was very, very popular, and I thought, oh, this is the girl for me to...
Because you were the unpopular
Right.
one. If somebody very popular befriends you, you feel, that's it, I made it, it's great. And was it great? Were you popular?
No. It lasted for a very short time, maybe a week or so. Then the newness wore off, and she just started to pick on me.
She started to pick on you.
She started it. Everybody else left me alone. She kind of egged everybody on to do it.
Huh. You, having no other friends, told Martha your deepest secrets.
Right.
Would you share with us, could you, your deep secret?
Well, it wasn't so much that I told her. She became very close to my family. She started dating my uncle, and she found out some things about me. I'd been sexually abused when I was younger, and she told everyone about it.
Everyone in the school?
Yeah.
Why do you think that this friend, Martha, at first befriended you?
I think because she saw that my grandmother did a lot to me, a lot for me. Let me drive the car, gave me money to do things, go places. And my uncle also, I think she liked my uncle, so he's only 2 years older than I am. She wanted to get with him, I think.
So that was why she was nice to you.
Right.
Why do you think she spread rumors about you at school or told a real confidence?
Just to make my life bad. That's how I felt at the time, just so she could get in. She was very two-faced. She would tell the lies about me, and then she would come to my house and be nice to me.
Tammy felt not beautiful. She felt that maybe the kids in school were right, that she was the town prostitute. She felt suicidal, and she was put into a mental hospital. How many years since you've seen this, Martha?
12 years.
Okay. Why do you want to see her again?
Because I want to show her that throughout everything she did to me, that I became a good, viable person. I've become something I'm proud of, and nothing to do
on the ground and break them. And I read this story. I wrote a short story when I was 9 years old about a little girl named Cora, and everyone around her dies, and then she ends up killing herself because she's so alone. And you know, children, they bring that out. They bring out their emotions and how they act, the drawings that they make, the stories that they create, that comes out, and that's how they're really feeling. And that scares me to death that I was like that, and I didn't even know it. I was fascinated with death.
Kids are, you know, at a certain point. Annette also felt that if she were prettier, her dad would not have left her mom. And you know how hard it is for kids to go through a divorce. She felt if she were prettier, her sister would like her. If she was prettier, she'd do better in school. And then she gets into high school. Tell me about the crush on this guy.
Well, it was junior high school, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it started young.
Was he the big thing that everyone was just...
The biggest. He was Mr. Everything. Mr. Everything. He was the jock. He was in the in crowd. He was the one that hung out with the cool, the table that all the cool people sit at. He sat at that table, and I would sit across the lunchroom and just,
Now, you turn from that duckling into this swan. You're pretty together. What has happened in your life now? What do you do? Are you married?
No.
What do you do?
I actually am a singer and an actress.
See?
And a lot of it has to do with, I want to say, look, you know, I was just a nice person then as I am now. My self-esteem has changed quite a bit, but I want him to look, and if he hasn't changed, I want him to be able to look at himself and take a look at himself and say, you know what, I was wrong, and I should have given, maybe even you a chance then.
Now, he has no idea, and she thinks he won't know who she is. So the poor guy is going to go on national television and be put on a spot. You go and hide, and we're going to bring him out. So you go backstage there. You can hear what he's saying. There we go. Right?
Sure.
Aha! Aha! Tony, did you know when you were in junior high school that you were a hot number?
I didn't know that. No.
You did not?
I was never told that,
Do you ever see anybody from the old junior high school? And this is her 14-year-old daughter, Rebecca. You want the bad news or the good news? You want the bad news or the good news? Which? Choose one. Okay, the bad news is the same as the good news. Do you know, how old are you now?
14.
14? Wow. Do you know what I looked like at 14? I wish I had a picture. I looked exactly like you, so it's bad news and good news. True. I had red hair and blue eyes. No, I had red hair and all those freckles. and all of that. Exactly, exactly. So that's the bad news. You're going to grow up and look like me. We're going to put old age makeup on you. Show you that. Pam told our producers that she was very worried about Rebecca. Why?
Becky has a real hard time at school. Kids always make fun of her.
What do they make fun of?
Well, she's
As I said, this is
red
a
hair,
perfectly
freckles,
ordinary, nice-looking
and-
face.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that face?
I don't think there's nothing wrong with that.
Right, so why did they pick on her? Red hair and freckles?
Freckles, and she has a learning disability.
Right.
And it seems to bring more attention to her.
You removed her from school last year with only 3 days left of
Yeah.
school?
I did.
Couldn't you tough out the 3 days? No, why?
They'd push my head into the locker and wouldn't let me move and stuff. They'd lock me in the restroom and wouldn't let me get out and stuff.
The kids have jumped her.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Rebecca will not eat lunch because she's afraid she'll be picked on. Do you have a good family? Yes, you do. I think you're very pretty. I really do. We have been talking to people who were once ugly ducklings or thought they were.
Yes.
Now, I maintain not every ugly duckling is an ugly duckling, but be that as it may. And they've really worked on themselves and they've turned into swans. But one thing I've noticed is there are a lot of scars that people still bear. They have to tell somebody off or they have to find somebody. Why is it so hard to let go of those painful memories?
Well, because I think it's when it occurs. It's during adolescence when we all feel like ugly ducklings. And what was surprising to me as I was watching the show in progress was that they really weren't all that unattractive, but they felt that way. And as adolescents, we always think we say the wrong thing, we don't weigh the right weight, we don't have the pretty enough face. And this is particularly true, I think, for females more than it is for males.
You have a list of tips to help people get over the ugly duckling pain.
Yes.
What are they?
Well, the first one is to seek self-esteem and to seek good feelings about ourselves from ourselves, not to look outside for encouragement. You know, it has to do with being able to have good interpersonal skills and how do we deal with others. And I know in your